welcome back to my channel, Watch From Reviews. I'm Gareth, and in today's episode, as the title says, I'll be doing my top 10 films of 2024. So obviously, horrors are not going to be in this. That's going to be in my Friday video. So we will get straight in on it. So I gotta admit, kind of a disappointing year overall for these type of movies. I think horror is the main genre that's really knocked it out of the park this year. But I've got a top 10. I did enjoy the majority of these. I think there's going to be a few surprises in here that a lot of people probably didn't like during the year. But we were going to kick off straight at number 10. And that is kind of a recent one and all that. And it is a musical. And I've got about 3 musicals in my top 10, to be honest. And that is Wicked. So yeah, starring Ariana Grande and... a story about kind of a prequel to the Wizard of Oz story. It is, and be honest, man, very pleasantly surprised at this. You know, not much was coming out in the cinema, and I thought I'll go and watch it and all that. I am part of the Limitless thing with audience, so you know it's worth me going to the cinema every week, even if it's something I don't necessarily want to see and all that. And I gotta admit, I was pleasantly surprised with this one, as I am with a few others in this list as well. Very well acted, beautiful music and that. And this is part 1. Part 2, I think, is coming out next Christmas. It is. So very much looking forward to part 2. But very, like I said, very well acted. Great music in this as well. Very beautiful visuals as well in this movie as well, and I can see it winning a few awards coming in award season and that. So yeah, Wicked it is at number 10. Number 9 is another musical. It was the last film I saw in the cinema, and I saw in 2024, and that is Better Man. So this is pretty much a kind of an autobiography thing of Robbie Williams from Take That fame. It is, and it does kind of chronicle his early upbringing into his downfall with drugs and alcohol, and then how he bounced back from it after going to rehab with that as well. The one thing that does stick out for this movie is he is played by a monkey in this movie as well. And I don't think, if they didn't have that aspect in this movie, I don't think it would have really appealed to many people, to be honest. But again, another one I just went thinking, what the hell, I may as well go and see it. It looks interesting. And I'm not a big Robbie Williams fan, as most people, things, but really enjoyed this movie thing. Very good musical numbers as well. It is in this, and the actor that plays Robbie Williams, the monkey in the thing, and that does have his characteristics and mannerisms down to a T for this movie. How close to his life this really was, because unfortunately, with films like this, and there's another film in this movie as well that I have the same problem with as well, but it is another great movie. Is something that takes place over multiple years. You can't really do it justice with a 2-hour film, but this does a really good job at it. It does, with when they're doing the musical numbers for the thing, kind of goes through a few stages of the years and all that, where different get-ups and that, and it does really go into his depression and his use of drugs and alcohol. Doesn't shy away from it and all that. And the best part of this movie is when he sees younger versions of himself in the crowd, like as a monkey stages of his life. It is in the crowd, and they're all telling him to go and kill himself and stuff like that. And then it comes down to his, like, the big finale before his rehab is his Nebworth concert he did and that, and a big battle scene and stuff like that with his older selves, monkeys and that, which is very good. But yeah, definitely recommend Better Man, better than what I expected. Coming in at number 8, and it is the latest installment for the Planet of the Apes franchise, and that is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Done a review for this one, I think, when it came out. I really liked it. A lot of people thought it wasn't that great. I thought it done a really good job, and it set up other films going into the future. So like I said, very nice visuals. I like the acting in it. Not as probably as good as Andy Serkis and all that in the previous three Planet of the Apes movies, but I think it's a well-directed movie, well acted. Visuals are beautiful in this as well. Definitely a worthy entry in the franchise. We're coming in number 7 now, and it is Ridley Scott's Gladiator II. I was a bit thing with this movie. I'll say brilliantly made, nicely visuals, well acted and stuff like that. My biggest problem for this movie is it's pretty much a carbon copy of the first Gladiator. So it's like, why would you watch Gladiator 2? You just go back and watch Gladiator. Yes, it changes a couple of aspects from the story in the first one, but this movie kind of makes the first movie is Maximus's struggles and his things kind of moot, to be honest, because at the end of that movie you're thinking, oh, the city's going back to the Senate and stuff like that, but nope, went back to a couple of emperors and all that who kind of screwed everything up, and it is pretty much the same story, but told between a couple of other characters and that. But other than that, it is a very well made movie, and worthy of being in the top 10. But like I said, the top 10 this year and all that ain't exactly been stellar, to be honest. I think there's only about 3 or 4 in this list that I got that I thought were really brilliant movies and all that. But these bottom ones, coming up to probably number 4, could have been a lot better. They could have. So yeah, coming in at number 7 is Gladiator 2. So we come in at number 6 now, and some people will be surprised that this is up as high as it is, because it did flop badly in the cinema and that. But I gotta admit, I really enjoyed it, and I like the musical aspects of this movie, and that is The Joker 2. It is. Don't get me wrong, I have my things with these movies. They're not Joker movies. They just put the Joker thing on it to make a bit of money, especially in the first movie and all that. But it's the same as this one. It's not the Joker, and it's not Harley Quinn and all that. It ain't. For that, yeah, they're not them characters. I know you could say this is an elsewhere one, but it doesn't. You're a fan of DC and all that. You don't go into this movie and going, yeah, that's my Joker. Yes, that's my Harley Quinn and all that. Don't need it in the movie. The movies are just as good without having these names thrown in there, but they only put these names in there just to make a bit of money. But it didn't work for this one, because Todd Phillips, the director, really changed it up for this one and made it into a musical. And I really like the musical aspect of this movie. I think it was a nice little change of the Joker, like the Joker playing these music things out in his head and that. The only things I didn't like about the musical thing is I preferred the musical keys of this movie when they blended it in to the environment they were in, like when he's in the jail and Harvey Dent's on the thing and he's dancing around the inmates singing, and when he's in the courtroom and stuff like that. When they go away from it, then you have like a different stage, and they're just taking aspects from other musicals and stuff like that, like Sonny and Cher and stuff like that. Kind of takes it out of the movie for me personally. I would have rather them stayed in the element of the places that they were in when the songs break out. But other than that, very well acted. It is very well directed. Similar feel to the first movie in the thing, apart from the musical aspect, obviously. But yeah, I thought it was a really good movie. And yeah, people don't like it. It's up to them and all that. But I think we're in a time right now where people just hate on things for the sake of hating on things. I think the MCU are in that period right now where I'm a defender of Phase 4. Obviously not all of it. Some of the TV shows weren't as good as what they should have been. But the movies, I think people have got to realise that, especially with the MCU, they hit the high with Endgame. They were never going to hit that high again. It is. So we're back to Phase 1 again, really. It is. But I think we're in a culture now where we hate on things way too easily now. But just how we are. But I like the Joker 2, and I think it's good in number 6. And we're coming in at number 5 now, and we have the prequel to Mad Max and Fury Road, which is Furiosa. Again, a very well acted movie, very well directed, and the visuals are beautiful in this. Not as good as Mad Max Fury Road, in my opinion. Again, they have the problem with this of it takes place over a few years and that, and it's hard to really make a movie like that and compress it down to a 2-hour movie. It is. I think this would have been better off maybe as a TV series, a short-lived 5-6 episode mini-series, maybe an hour an episode and all, and build up through her years of when she got captured, etc. But overall, very good action scenes in this. Very well acted by Anna Taylor-Joy. Surprising enough, Chris Hemsworth's brilliant in this. Not the best antagonist in the franchise, but he does a very good job in this as well. But yeah, very nice indeed. So we're coming into the top 4 now, and these are my 4 that I thought were absolutely brilliant and I absolutely loved these movies. And coming in number 4, be surprised that it's as low as it is, as low down on my list as it is, because it's probably up there as the top 1 or 2 movies for most people's rankings, and that is Dune Part 2. Really loved this movie. Denis Villeneuve does a brilliant job. The acting in this by all of it, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, and the others in this, Christopher Walken, etc., and all that, really do elevate this movie up. Do I find it as good as the Part 1? I probably don't. I'm probably in the minority for that one, and I do prefer Part 1. The one thing I was really disappointed with this one is when the sandworms attack at the end. It's not a grand... To me, it didn't feel a grand thing as the 80s movie, the David Lynch version and that. And you don't see much of the battle right at the end and all that. And Josh Brolin's character, again, his revenge on Batista's character. It just fell flat for me and all that. But it does end on a high, very nice battle between Timothée Chalamet and I forgot the guy's name now played Elvis, but their battle and where the next movies are really going to go. It is. So I'm really looking forward, and it's another one I think will kind of clean up when the Oscars come out. So that's number 3. Hi, sorry for jumping in on this one, but I just did this video and all that, and I forgot to do number 3. I jumped straight from 4 to number 2. So number 3 was The Iron Claw, biography of the wrestling family, the Von Erichs, about their turbulence, upbringing, and the bad luck the whole family had during the wrestling career and that. A very sad movie, very well acted. It is in the movie as well by all the actors in it. Zac Efron is especially good as, is he the oldest brother or not the oldest, but one of the oldest brothers, and the only living brother to this day. All the rest either took their own lives or they died from something else. It is injuries, etc. It is, but yeah, this movie I think came out last year in America, but didn't really come out till this year, over here in the beginning of this year. But again, a very well acted movie it is, and definitely up there as one of the best of the year so far. And especially if you're a wrestling fan, I think it does the story pretty much justice. I still think they should have done a mini series for this. Like I said with a couple of the other movies I said in this top 10 as well. But yeah, very good movie indeed. And bring you back to the main video. Number 2 is probably the funnest movie I had at the cinema this year. Absolutely hilarious. Had me howling with laughter. It is brilliant action scenes. Yes, the story's not the best in the world, but I think it's you can gloss over that with the 2 main characters, and that is Deadpool and Wolverine. Absolutely loved this movie. Even on a second and third watch, I was still laughing my head off at this. I thought they'd done a brilliant job with this one, from the NSYNC Bye 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 music in the beginning to the action scenes. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have got perfect chemistry. Both very funny and very emotional as well in this movie. And then when you have the Madonna's Like a Prayer, the choir singing that at the end as well, it brings a tear to your eye and that. But yeah, very nice to see how the MCU brought them into this and all that, and kept it as an R-rated as well, which I'm hoping they'll have a little thing now going forward where they will branch out more in some R-rated stuff now, the MCU. But yeah, such a funny bloody action-filled movie. Yeah, one of my favourites of the year. And then coming in at number 1, which to me, this was like a near perfect movie. Alex Garland directed and written this movie. Such a harrowing, very nice, very take on a civil war, and that is Civil War. It is, but it is a very harrowing movie where it does show like the things of war and all that. And yeah, the story is pretty much a civil war happening in America and certain states coming together trying to get rid of the government, etc. And then you have these news people wanting to get to Washington to interview and photograph the president before he gets captured and arrested for the crimes that he has done, which don't go into too much detail in the movie and that, but it is very thing of what some people will do in situations like this. Very tense in some scenes. It is, and not many. I did do a review for this as well. Not many negatives I had for this movie, and it has to be put as number 1 in my opinion. Visuals for a movie that didn't really cost a lot. I think between 40 and 50 million it might have, but the visuals are brilliant in this as well. Use a lot of practical effects as well, obviously. But yeah, the third act as well in this movie is very heartbreaking, and yeah, it's very, you walk out to this movie, you don't feel happy or anything walking out to this movie. It gets you thinking for days and days and days, and that's why I thought it had to be number 1 on my list. So yeah, that's my top 10. I would really like to know what other people's top 10s were. So if you want to slap them down in the comments, I will get back to them as well. Give a thumbs up as well. Helps the channel out as well as for that. And come back Friday where I have my top 10 horror movies 2024. And then next weekend, I will do my top 10 most anticipated movies similar to this list. And then on the Friday, then come back for a Horror Friday where I will chat about horror movies that I'm looking forward to coming up in this next year as well. So thank you for watching the video. Hope you all had a very good new year as well, and I will see you next time.